Welcome to Provatech. My name is Raju. C programming language, C++ programming language tutorial by Provatech. Today I would like to explain recursion in C++, inline functions in C++, namespaces in C++, scope resolution operator in C++. So the C++ recursion. So recursion means a function calls itself is called a recursion. A function calls itself is called a recursion. The process in which a function calls itself is known as recursion, and the corresponding function is called recursive function. The process in which a function calls itself is known as recursion, and the corresponding function is called recursive function. So I have main method call the some function recursion. So by definition of recursion, calls itself. So recursion program starts with the main function. So first statement recursion is called. This is the calling function. Calling function. So now goes to called function. Called function is this one. So called function, then next statement is it having another function named recursion. So it calls the recursion. It calls the recursion. Again next statement, again call the recursion function. Again call the recursion function. That means a function calls itself is known as recursive function. A function calls itself is called recursion function. Now here recursion function is the main function, this is the calling function. So recursion call the called function calls itself regularly. So if there is no any condition, if there is no any condition inside the recursion function, it goes to infinite times. So call the recursion one time, second time, third time, so on, infinite times. They show the recursion function should have some base condition. That means that it terminates that function. So the recursion function should have some base condition. This implies that it terminates the function. Otherwise, recursion function goes to infinite times. So this is the recursion example. It calls continuously. It goes to infinite times. So if you terminate this function, you have to press Ctrl Alt break. Then it stops that. Otherwise, it is happen continuously. So recursion function should have some base condition. Suppose fact is the recursion function. It contains some base condition. What is that base condition? If the given number is int fact, given number int n. So if n less than or equal to 1, then return 1, else return n star fact of n minus 1. So this, if n less than or equal to 1, return 1. This is the base condition. Suppose if n is 5, so first 5 into fact of 4, then
fact of 4 goes to 4 into fact of 3, then 3 into fact of 2, then 2 into fact of 1, then 1 into 1. If n less than or equal to 1, that implies return 1. If n less than or equal to 1, return 1. If it is not there, it goes to infinite times. So 1 into fact of 0, then 0 into fact of -1. So like infinite times. So every recursion function should have base condition. So in this example, int fact is a function having one parameter and return integer. In this case, if n less than or equal to 1, return 1. This is the base condition. So recursion function means a function calls itself is called recursion function. A function calls itself is called a recursion function. Recursion function should have base condition. So this is the example. Factorial of a number. Factorial of a number. Suppose 5 factorial equal to 5 factorial equal to 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 equal to 20, 23, 60, 62, 120. So 3 factorial equal to 3 into 2 into 1. The value is 6. 4 factorial equal to 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So 4 3 is 12, 12 2 is 24. So similarly, n factorial. N factorial equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into so on 3 into 2 into 1. This is the mathematical formula of factorial of a number. Factorial n factorial equal to n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 into so on 3 into 2 into 1. So this is the factorial of a number. So in this our example, program starts with the main, enter number, n is, so enter number will be displayed on the console window, then number equal to so 5. So if user gives the input 5, then it stores to number. Then factorial of enter number. So fact of num is 5. Here 5 is the actual parameter. So now it goes to its fact of 5 is calling function. Fact of 5 is calling function. Now goes to definition of called function. So int fact int n means it 5. So some statements. So here 5 is the n is the formal parameter. N is formal parameter and it is called function. Then I have base condition. See that, check that 5 less than or equal to 1. 5 less than or equal to 1. It is false. Then goes to else statement. What is the else statement? N into n means here 5 star fact of 5 minus 1, that is 4. Okay, so fact is the again function. So a function calls itself. Then 5 star. So fact of 4. So again check that 4 less than or equal to 1. It is false. So else block will be executed. So else what is the else block? N into fact of n minus 1. So what is the n value now? 4 into fact of n minus 1. 4 minus 1. It is 3. Again call the fact function. So again check that 3 less than or equal to 1. It is false. Now goes to, so 5 star, 4 star, fact of 3. Fact of 3. So 3 less than or equal to 1 false. So else block executed. So fact of 3 means 3 star fact of 3 minus 1. It is okay. Again we have fact of 2. So fact is the function. So check the condition 2 less than or equal to 1. 2 less than or equal to 1. So it is false. It is false. Then goes to factorial function. So 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, fact of 2. Else block will be executed. 2 star, fact of 1. Okay. Then again call the fact of 1. So check the condition 1 less than or equal to 1. So it is true. Then fact of 1 returns 1. Fact of 1 returns 1. Then 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, 2 star, 1. So it is 120. 120 will be displayed. 120 will be displayed. So these are the, so first 5 n into n minus 1. Then again fact of n minus 1. Then again fact of n minus 1. So here calling the function, same function repeatedly until the base condition satisfied. If the base condition is satisfied, so it returns some value, then terminates the function. That's why recursive function should have some base conditions. Clear, right? First we are passing 5 into factorial 4. Then what is the factorial 4? Factorial 4 is 4 into factorial of 3. Then what is the factorial of 3? Factorial 3 is 3 into factorial 2. Then what is the value of factorial 2? 2 into factorial 1. So what is the value of factorial 1? It is 1. So it is 1. So it returns to fact of 1. Then 5 star, 4 star, 3 star, 2 star, 1. Its value is 120. Next concept, inline functions. Inline functions. So inline is the keyword. So C++ having 62 keywords, C having 32 keywords. So inline is the keyword. So we know that functions, right? So inline int sum of int x comma int y return x plus y. So in main, so call the function sum of 1 comma 2 So it returns the function. So int s equal to sum of 1 comma 2. Cout s. So whenever we create the function, so some memory allocated for that function. So memory allocated from the stack for the function. Memory allocated from the stack for the particular function. If you use inline keyword, so there is no memory creation for some function. There is no memory creation for some function. Whenever we call the function, then it automatically replaced. So here in main function I am calling sum 1 comma 2. So in this time, so this function is replaced by calling function. So there is no separate memory for inline functions. If you use inline keyword in front of function, so then there is no separate memory creation from the stack. So there is no memory. So it automatically replaced. Inline function is a function which when invoked requests the compiler to replace the calling statement with its body. To replace the calling statement. So sum 1 comma 2, it is calling function. Sum 1 comma 2 is the calling function. So compiler, if you use inline keyword in front of sum, so it is the inline function. Whenever we call the function, so sum 1 comma 2 replaced by this total body. Right? Inline function is a function which when invoked requests the compiler to replace the calling statement with its body. A keyword inline is added before the function name to make it inline. So before the function name, sum is the function name, we use inline keyword before the sum. So inline functions is very important point. Inline functions is suitable for small functions only. So this is only one statement, right? Written x plus y. So this is useful for suitable for small functions. So suppose inside this function I have some for loop int I equal to 1, I less than 5, I plus plus, cout I. So inline function, this is not inline function because we are using for loops. So looping number of iterations. So if I give 5, then the loop continues with 5 iterations. So these inline functions are suitable for only small functions. In case of large functions, it increases the execution time. Then performance automatically down. So it takes more time to execute. So if inline functions having something complex statements, then execution is very slow. Execution is very slow because it takes more time. So because whenever I call the function, it replaces the total body to calling function. So syntax, what is the syntax? Is the inline is the keyword, return type is any data type, integer, void, char, float, double, array, pointer, struct, any data types, and function name. This here sum is the function name, and argument list int x comma int y, and body of function. What is the body of function here? Written x plus y. So inline functions are suitable for small functions only. So max is the function having 2 integer parameters and return integer. It is inline function. So every program starts with the main. Every program starts with the main. Then first statement max of 20 comma 10. Then there is no separate memory for max function because it is we are using inline keyword in front of max function. We are using inline keyword in front of max function. So whenever we call the max 20 comma 10, it replaced by x greater than y is the conditional operator. If it is true, x will be displayed colon, otherwise y will be displayed. So now 20 greater than 10, it is true. So 20 will be displayed on the console window. Then next statement, max 0 comma 200. So max is the inline function, then this code is automatically replaced to 0 greater than 200. Then if it is true, 0 will be displayed, otherwise 200 will be displayed. So 0 greater than 200 is false, then 200 will be displayed on the console window. Next, max of 100 comma 1010. Then this statement replaced by inline statement. The statement replaced by inline statement. Then check that 100 greater than 1010. So it is false. So check that if it is true, 100 will be displayed, otherwise 1010 displayed on the console window. So 100 greater than 1010 is false, then 1010 will be displayed on the console window. Clear, right? So inline functions is a function which when invoked request the compiler to replace the calling statement with its body. Compiler to replace the calling statement with its body. Then inline function is suitable for small functions only. In case of large functions, execution time is very slow. Then another concept, namespace. So namespaces are introduced in C++. Namespaces are introduced in C++. It is not available in C. A namespace is declarative region that provides scope to identifiers. Identifier means that is variables. A namespace is a declarative region that provides a scope to the identifiers. That is the names of types, functions, variables, etc. inside it. Namespaces are used to organize code into logical groups and to prevent name collisions that can occur, especially whenever code base includes multiple libraries. Suppose I have main function. I have main function. I declared one variable int val, then value equal to 10. Then I declared double val equal to 5.5. So this C++ program is executed or not? Not executed, because both are same variable name. So if two names occur same name, then compiler throws the error, right? So if I want same thing, then I can define namespace outside of the main function. Namespace is the keyword, is the name, then int val equal to 50, int val equal to 50, then these two statements are executed based on the namespace. Namespace is a declarative region that provides scope to the identifiers. Identifies either name of the types, functions, variables inside it. Namespace is a feature added in C++ not present in C. Multiple namespace blocks with the same name are allowed. All declarations with those blocks are declared in the name scope. So a namespace definition begins with the keyword namespace followed by the namespace name as follows. So namespace is the keyword and namespace name. So start with the curly braces and the declarative statements. So namespace declarations appear only at the global scope. Appear only at the global scope. That means before the main function. So namespace declarations appear only at the global scope. Namespace declarations can be nested within another namespace. Like we have nested for loops, nested while loop, nested switch, nest if else. Like that, we can have nested namespace declarations. Namespace declarations do not have access specifiers. So that means public variables, private variables, protected variables. Namespace declarations do not have access specifiers. No need to give semicolon after the closing brace of definition of namespace. So if we define structure, so struct is the keyword and student is the structure name. So structure and with semicolon. So student is the structure, then ID is the integer and name the A is the name array, branch is the another array having 20 characters. Okay, so at the end of curly braces we are using semicolon. So here we have namespace ns1 name, then we have declare two integer variables int x comma y. So this should be defined before the main function. That means appear only at the globe scope. So namespace are nested. So see the example. A program demonstrate need of namespace. Having variable value is an integer data type and having the value 0. Then I declared same variable value 0.0. So when we compile the solution, so compiler throws an error. That means value has previous declaration. That means int is also value, double is also value. So then next example. So I have namespace first int val equal to 500. So namespace name is first. So int val equal to 500, right? So this was declared before the main function. I have another variable int val equal to 100. So program starts with the main. So the variables which are declared outside the all functions, then it is called global variable. Clear, right? The variables which are declared outside of all functions, then those variables are called global variables. So program starts with the main. I have here local variable. So int int val equal to 200. The variables which are declared inside the function, it is called local variable. Suppose if I cout val, then val first one is so namespace first namespace first having val, this value is 500, this value is 500. Then I have global variable val, I have global variable val, so this value is 100. So program starts with the main, then the same variable name val replaced by 200. Now output val is displayed 200. If you compile and build the solution, there is no error, there is no error. But in the previous example, same value name, and so int value, double value, both are local variables. So when you compile the solution, you are getting the error. So here global variable and local variable, then you won't get any error. So if you want to display namespace value, then you can use cout, you can use namespace name. What is the namespace name? First. Then use scope resolution operator. I will explain in the next slide about scope resolution operator where. Then you will get output is so output is the first is the namespace having val variable, this the value is 500 will be displayed. So val are three variable names, same variable names. One is declared in the namespace and another one is global variable and another one is local variable. So value of global variable override by local variable, then 100 is replaced by 200. If you want to display the namespace value, then you can use namespace name. The first is the namespace name, then use colon colon, that is the scope resolution operator. Colon colon is the scope resolution operator. So one more example, I have namespace first space having some function. So namespace first underscore space. So this is the first function having some function, void function. So cout, the string is inside first underscore space, inside first underscore space, inside first underscore space. Okay, this is the first namespace. Similarly, I have another namespace, second namespace. So namespace second underscore space having same function name, same function name. So cout inside second space, right? So first space having same function name, second space also having same function name. So inside the main function, if I want to call first space function, then you can use namespace name first underscore space using scope resolution operator colon function C, right? So if you want to call second function space, then use second underscore space colon function. So whenever we use like these statements, the first space function call this function first underscore space colon function, second space colon function call the second space function. So output is inside first space will be displayed first, then inside second space will be displayed next. Clear, right? So suppose one function, one main function calling function, then call the same functions. So here I have two different namespaces having same functions, two different namespaces. So first underscore space is one namespace, second underscore space is another namespace. Both are having same functions. So if you are not using namespaces, namespaces inside the main function, if you call function like this, then there is a confliction. So compiler doesn't know which function has to call. Compiler doesn't know which function has to call because both are namespaces, both are having same functions. We are not mentions any namespace, then there is a confliction between first namespace and second namespace. Compiler doesn't know about which function has to call. So you should mention namespaces. You should mention namespaces. Next is using directive. You can also avoid prepending of namespaces with the using namespace directive. Using namespace directive. This directive tells the compiler that the subsequent code is making use of names in the specified space. So I have first namespace, I have second namespace. So first namespace having function, second namespace also having function. So inside in main function, if I call function C, then there is a confliction between first namespace and second namespace. So if you use in the main function before, if you use using so clear that using first underscore space, then whenever we call function C, it automatically calls the first namespace. It automatically calls the first underscore space colon function. It automatically calls the first underscore space colon function because we are using directive, using first underscore space. So first underscore space is the namespace of first namespace and we are using directive. So you can also avoid prepending of namespaces with the using namespace directive. This directive tells the compiler that the subsequent code is making use of names in the specified namespace. So in this case, first space having function, so second space also having function. I am using namespace. I am using namespace first underscore space. Namespace under first underscore space. This function calls first namespace. So it calls the inside first underscore space will be displayed. Inside first underscore space will be displayed on the console window. So nested namespaces. Namespaces can be nested, where you can define one namespace inside another namespace as follows. That is namespace name1 and curly braces starts, and another inner namespace underscore name2. So if you can access members nested namespace by using resolution operator, scope resolution operator, colon. See this, using namespace 1 and namespace 2 using the scope resolution operator. Suppose I have namespace A, inside another namespace B. So I have variables int x, suppose the function void function C. So if I want to access the function, then you can write a colon first namespace, then second namespace dot function C. Then it calls the function inside the namespace B. Clear, right? Then scope resolution operator. This operator is used to specify an identifier defined at the structure, class, or namespace scope. I explained, right? So I have namespace. First int val equal to 20. If I want to access the val in the first namespace using namespace colon val, so the output is 20 will be displayed. So this is colon is scope resolution operator. So S colon identifier denotes that identifier declared the scope of structure, class, or namespace S. Colon denotes identifier declared at global scope. So why is the class scope operator needed? This is the scope resolution operator, right? Why it is needed? A name defined within a class does not conflict with the same name defined globally or within a block or within another class. So there is no confliction between the variables. That's why we used scope resolution operator. So suppose that this is the example. So int x. So the variables which are declared outside the function, it is called global variables. You already know that the default value of global variables are 0. The default value of local variables are garbage values, but the default values of global variables are 0. The variables which are declared outside the all function, then it is called global variables. So here int x. So x is the global variable. the value of x is initially 0. Compiler automatically give the values 0. Okay, then I created local variable, another local variable x having the value 10. Value having the 10. Now see out value of global variable x is, then we are using colon. So x. So what is the value of global variable? Global variable is x is 0. So this displays the value is 0. Then see out value of local variable x is. What are the local variable? Simply x. It is 10. It is 10. So if you want to display global variables, then use colon. Colon means that scope resolution operator. Colon means scope resolution operator. It is used in namespaces also. It is used in namespaces also. So if you want to display global variables, then using colon operator. So see this, why the scope resolution operator needed. A name defined within a class, that means a variable defined within a class does not conflict with the same name defined globally or within a block or within a class. So this is the example. X is the variable declared outside and inside the main function also. So if you want to display global variables, then you can use colon, that is scope resolution operator. So if you have any questions or queries, please send mail to hello@provatech.com or send message through the Skype prova.tech. Thank you.